The shuttle screamed through the alien atmosphere, metal groaning as it struggled against winds that seemed alive. Commander Elias Trent, a veteran of countless Terran missions, gritted his teeth, gripping the controls as the onboard warning lights flashed in chaotic rhythm. He had flown through asteroid fields, navigated collapsing star systems, survived hostile fleets, but nothing had prepared him for this world. The planet below was a jagged landscape of obsidian cliffs and glowing fissures, rivers of molten rock carving a path across the surface. Sensors detected enormous life forms, their energy signatures massive and unpredictable. One wrong move, and he wouldn't just crash, he'd be extinguished. The shuttle shuddered violently, an engine failing, and Elias had no choice. He ejected, hurtling toward the jagged terrain, bracing for impact. The ground erupted beneath him, jagged stone tearing at the shuttle's hull. And then, darkness. When he awoke, he expected death, but the pain was different. A deep, rhythmic thrum resonated around him, vibrating through the stone beneath his back. His eyes flicked open, and he saw them. Colossal creatures, taller than his shuttle had been long, their muscular limbs rippling with movement, eyes glowing faintly amber in the dim light. Elias's heart raced, and his hand instinctively went to the weapon at his side. The creatures did not advance. Instead, they circled, watching, sniffing, communicating in a low, reverberating hum. Elias tried to remember his training. Most hostile aliens attack first, think later. But these beings, massive, predatory, yet strangely cautious, did not strike. He waited, breath ragged, every nerve alert. Hours passed, or maybe minutes, the concept of time blurred in fear and pain. Then one of the giants lowered itself, enormous hand extending toward him. The ground trembled beneath its weight. Elias flinched, bracing for the blow. Instead, it nudged him gently. A vibration ran through the creature's arm, almost communicative? Slowly, cautiously, he realized what had happened. They were saving him. Not out of mercy, not out of weakness, but a decision that defied everything he thought he knew about survival on this planet. The following days were a blur of observation and cautious interaction. The creatures brought him water from steaming fissures, shelter under overhanging cliffs, and food that, while unidentifiable, kept him alive. Elias documented everything, knowing humanity would never believe this. Yet each day he felt the strange bond deepen. These beings were not mindless predators. They were a society with rules, honor, and the capacity to choose life over death. Eventually, when his shuttle was repaired enough to fly, he departed the planet, carrying memories, scars, and a promise. One day, humanity would know the debt he owed. He left behind footprints in ash and stone, but more importantly, he left behind the knowledge that sometimes, even in the deadliest corners of the galaxy, life could extend a hand across species, and honor could exist where survival seemed absolute. Little did Elias know that this single act of mercy, decades later, would echo across the stars and call humanity to answer in ways no one could foresee. Back on Earth, Commander Elias Trent stepped off the shuttle into a world that had moved on without him. The bustling spaceports, gleaming Terran starships, and endless streams of engineers and diplomats felt alien, almost suffocating. To the public, he was just another decorated explorer returning from a mission gone wrong. But Elias carried secrets no one could imagine, secrets that weighed heavier than medals or accolades. He chose a quiet life on Luna City, living modestly among the engineers and scientists. Yet every waking moment, his mind drifted back to the planet that had spared his life. The colossal amber-eyed beings whose choice of mercy had altered the trajectory of his existence. Elias began to study, experimenting with alien techniques, deciphering patterns in the biological signals he had recorded, translating vibrations into usable data. Years passed. Humanity expanded across the stars, colonizing new worlds, building trade routes, and encountering alien civilizations. Yet the one race that had once shown him mercy remained isolated, enigmatic. Elias followed every report of unusual energy readings, every fragment of intercepted communication until the pattern became undeniable. The alien species was watching humanity, but cautiously, almost curiously. Elias became a ghost in this system, a silent contributor to Terran technological leaps. His designs enhanced ship engines, energy shields, and survival protocols, often disguised under other engineers' names to avoid political attention. Humanity's progress was accelerating, and the Terran alliance thrived. But Elias knew that the true test was still ahead. The aliens' mercy had not been an obligation, it was a challenge, a reminder that even the strongest species could fall without vigilance. He spent nights studying the stars from his small observatory, running simulations of alien ecosystems and combat scenarios. His notebooks were filled with strategies not to dominate, but to survive, to protect, and to respond with honor. Humanity's instinct for survival, coupled with ingenuity, was his message to the galaxy. If the time came, Terrans would answer a debt, no matter the cost. Even among the expanding fleets and bustling cities, Elias kept to himself, wary of sharing the full story. Few would believe the truth, that a species stronger, faster, and more dangerous than humanity had once chosen compassion over instinct, and that this single act could become a catalyst for the future. And then one night, as he monitored deep space frequencies, an anomaly appeared. A faint, irregular pulse from the alien's home system. His heart froze. It was not a greeting, not a test. This was a cry for help. The energy signature was immense, chaotic, and unmistakably desperate. Elias knew immediately that humanity could not ignore it. This was the call, the echo of a debt unpaid for decades. But convincing the Terran alliance would not be easy. Politics, fear, and arrogance ran deep. Many saw alien intervention as optional, even dangerous. But Elias understood the truth. Some debts could not be ignored, and humanity, for all its flaws, had a code that demanded a response. As the first tremors of interstellar alarm rippled through his small observatory, Elias prepared to make a choice that would test every skill, every lesson, and every ounce of courage he had gained. Decades of survival distilled into a single mission: to answer the call.
The first time Elias saw the readings on his console, he thought the instruments were malfunctioning. The alien pulse was erratic, violent, and overwhelming, unlike anything he had ever encountered. His heart pounded as he ran the scans again. Every signal confirmed the same horrifying truth. The species that had once saved his life was under siege, and the attackers were merciless. He leaned back in his chair, eyes scanning the holographic displays. Entire regions of the alien homeworld were falling dark, swallowed by an unseen force. The energy signatures were precise, targeted, and devastating, far beyond anything known in Terran records. This was not a random raid, it was annihilation. Elias felt a chill crawl along his spine. These creatures had once shown him mercy, and now, somehow, they had become victims of a predator even he could barely comprehend. Desperation fueled his fingers as he attempted to contact Terran Command. "This is Commander Elias Trent," he said into the comm, voice steady despite the fear gnawing in his stomach. "I have critical intelligence regarding an alien civilization previously unknown in their technology and strength. They are under attack and—" Static. He repeated the message. Again, Static. His reports bounced through communication grids, delayed by light years, slowed by bureaucracy, and blocked by skepticism. Terran Command hesitated, analyzing the data, debating risks and questioning motives. Why risk Terran lives for aliens, no matter the history? Elias clenched his fists. This was no longer a question of politics. It was a debt, a moral imperative. Frustrated but undeterred, Elias sent a direct transmission across Terran space, bypassing normal channels. He recounted the story of the alien species, their immense size, their intelligence, and, most importantly, how they had saved him decades ago. He explained that the pulse he had intercepted was not a greeting nor territorial signal. It was a call for help, a scream across the void. As he spoke, the alien signal pulsed again, sharper this time, almost rhythmic, almost human in its desperation. It tugged at something deep inside him, the memory of being spared, of surviving against impossible odds. Elias knew the truth. If humanity ignored this, the species that had once shown mercy could vanish forever. Across Terran space, captains and crews began picking up the transmissions. Some were skeptical, some curious, and some simply drawn by the urgency in Elias's voice. The response was immediate. Starship hangars roared to life across Terran worlds. Engines hummed, fueling pods ignited, and ships of every size, from sleek reconnaissance vessels to colossal dreadnoughts, prepared for deployment. For the first time in decades, humanity moved as one, not for conquest, not for profit, but for honor. On the command bridge of the Valiant Resolve, Captain Arya Solis tightened her grip on the rail, eyes scanning the fleet assembling around her. She had heard rumors of the alien species, tales whispered by explorers like Elias, but never had she imagined she would answer a call of such magnitude. "All captains report in," she ordered, voice crisp. The communications officer's console lit up with responses from across Terran space. "Acknowledged, Valiant Resolve. En route. We follow the call, Captain Solis. Humanity does not forget its debts." The human spirit, as it always did, rose to the occasion. Every crew member, from veteran engineers to rookie pilots, felt the pull of purpose. They were not just obeying orders, they were part of something larger, a moral imperative that transcended rank, politics, or fear. Across the galaxy, humanity's reputation as bold, inventive, and unyielding began to crystallize in real time. Meanwhile, Elias coordinated from his modest observatory on Luna City. Holographic star maps flickered, showing fleet trajectories and potential hazards in deep space. He had studied the alien homeworld for decades, predicting gravitational anomalies, energy storms, and potential enemy ambush zones. He muttered, "We move fast but carefully. Their lives are in our hands, and we won't fail them." The first fleet departed, streaking through warp corridors, leaving streaks of blue light against the black canvas of space. Soon, dozens more followed. Humanity's ships converged like a living organism, every captain independently intelligent, yet united by a single thread: the debt owed to a species that had once shown mercy. As the Terran forces gathered at the edge of uncharted space, alien signals pulsed again, fainter now, almost a whisper of hope. Elias stared at the readings, a mixture of anxiety and relief flooding him. The fleets would arrive in time, but the enemy they would face was unknown, relentless, and merciless. Captain Solis looked around her bridge, eyes meeting the eyes of her officers. She said, "This is more than a mission. We fight for honor, for the lives of those who once spared one of our own. Humanity answers the call. Every Terran captain here, every crew, every ship, they will not fail." From distant corners of the galaxy, humanity's ships surged forward, engines blazing, lights cutting through the void. It was not just a military response, it was a statement. When humanity pledged its honor, it did not hesitate. And somewhere, on the besieged alien world, beings who had once saved a human waited, perhaps sensing that help was finally on the way.
The enemy command vessel erupted in a blinding explosion, its energy core tearing through space like a dying star. Shockwaves radiated outward, throwing smaller enemy craft into disarray. The Terran fleets pressed their advantage, moving with a precision born of instinct, training, and fearless resolve. Captain Arias Solis gripped the rail of the valiant Resolve, eyes blazing. All units, focus on the stragglers, protect the alien strongholds, and stabilize orbit. Her voice carried authority, but it was more than command. It was a statement of humanity's unwavering determination. Smaller Terran fighters dove through gaps in the enemy formation, weaving between blasts of plasma and debris. Lieutenant Kyle Wren led his squadron down a narrow debris corridor, using jagged remnants of destroyed ships as cover. "We take the flank. Stick together and adapt," he shouted. The squadron twisted and turned with remarkable speed, each pilot improvising mid-flight, exploiting openings the enemy never anticipated. Meanwhile, Terran capital ships rained coordinated volleys of plasma and guided munitions on enemy clusters. Engineers worked frantically to stabilize failing shields and reroute powered weapons, often improvising solutions with whatever resources were at hand. Sparks flew across consoles as hull breaches were sealed, cores stabilized, and energy conduits rerouted, all in real time. Humanity's hallmark ingenuity turned every setback into an opportunity. The alien defenders, cornered and battered, finally rallied. Using encrypted bursts, Terrans coordinated with the aliens, combining human tactical unpredictability with the aliens' raw strength and technology. Together they created a battle pattern the enemy could not predict, turning a desperate defense into a controlled, coordinated assault. Yet the enemy was relentless. One massive warship unleashed orbital bombardment on the remaining alien cities, flattening structures in a heartbeat. Terran crews risked everything to intercept incoming fire, shield civilians, and neutralize weapons platforms. On board the Resolute Vanguard, alarms screamed as plasma strikes grazed the hull. Crew members acted with unspoken coordination, repairing breaches mid-battle and returning fire, proving once again that humanity thrived under pressure. Finally, the Terran strike team executed a daring final maneuver. Guided by Elias's intelligence, Solis led her ships through the heart of the enemy fleet, dodging energy nets and debris, while synchronizing attacks with the alien forces. Torpedoes, plasma barrages, and electronic disruption waves struck simultaneously. The enemy command hub shattered, its destruction throwing the remaining fleet into disarray. As the surviving enemy vessels fled, the Terran and alien forces regrouped. The orbital zones began to stabilize, defensive systems restarted, and the first signs of rebuilding emerged below. Elias watched from Luna City, relief mingled with pride. Humanity had faced the unknown, improvised in the chaos, and answered a call across species boundaries. The aliens who had once saved him would survive, and in doing so, humanity had proven its courage, honor, and indomitable spirit. The battle was won, but both humans and aliens knew it had changed the galaxy forever. In the void above the planet, Terran ships gleamed like stars of hope, a testament to what humanity could achieve when courage, ingenuity, and honor guided every decision.
The Terran fleet surged into uncharted space, a corridor of darkness dotted with distant stars and unyielding void. Captain Arias Solis leaned over the navigation console of the Valiant Resolve, eyes scanning shifting gravimetric anomalies projected in holographic blue. The fleet's path was littered with dangers, collapsing wormholes, rogue asteroid clusters, and unpredictable energy storms that could tear a ship apart in seconds. "This sector is unlike anything we've mapped before," Elias's voice came through the comm link, calm but urgent. The aliens' homeworld lies beyond these anomalies. Every maneuver counts. One miscalculation and we lose not just ships, but lives that depend on us. On board the smaller reconnaissance vessels, pilots gritted their teeth as asteroids hurled past at impossible velocities. "Brace for turbulence," shouted Lieutenant Cale Wren, flipping switches to stabilize shields. Just the raw fear of the unknown, yet also an unshakable resolve. They were humanity's best, answering a call that demanded courage beyond protocol. Meanwhile, engineers worked feverishly, reinforcing hulls and recalibrating energy cores to withstand the unpredictable spatial distortions. Sparks flew, alarms blared, but human ingenuity never faltered. Improvised solutions were implemented mid-flight, repurposed shield modulators, adaptive propulsion bursts, and synchronized warp jumps calculated with nothing but instinct and raw skill. Tensions flared between fleet captains, as strategic decisions had to be made on the fly. Some favored a rapid, aggressive approach to reach the alien world, while others urged caution, fearing the unknown threats that could annihilate entire squadrons. Arguments were heated, voices raised, yet the disagreements never broke the fleet's unity. Humanity thrived under pressure, blending stubbornness, creativity, and teamwork into a force that no simulation could replicate. Hours became days, supplies rationed, rotations kept crews alert, and the stress of the unknown weighed heavily on even the most seasoned veterans. Yet with each successful jump and each anomaly navigated, confidence grew. Pilots laughed briefly when a rogue meteor narrowly missed the resolute vanguard. Engineers cheered as a failing engine stabilized mid-flight, and commanders exchanged nods of respect. Silent acknowledgement of the human spirit in action. Then the first real threat emerged. A massive energy storm erupted ahead, lightning-like tendrils arcing through space, tearing at the fabric of the void itself. Shields strained, communication links flickered, and sensors went dark. Panic threatened to set in, but humanity adapted. Calculations were made, ships split into smaller formations, and synchronized warp maneuvers guided the fleet safely through the chaos. As the last ship cleared the storm, a collective exhale rippled through the networked fleet. Captain Solis allowed herself a brief smile. They had survived the unknown, outwitted the void itself, and proven once again why humans were feared and respected across the stars. Elias's voice came through one final time before they dropped out of warp. "This is only the beginning. Beyond this sector lies the enemy. The aliens are counting on us. Humanity must show that we repay our debts and that no call for help goes unanswered." The fleets emerged from the storm into the uncharted expanse, lights glinting against the darkness, engines humming with determination. Ahead lay the alien homeworld besieged and waiting, and humanity, in all its unpredictable brilliance, was ready to meet the challenge.
The orbital fires had dimmed, leaving streaks of smoke and fragments of debris hanging against the alien sky. The battle was over, but its echoes reverberated across the planet. On board the Terran fleet, crews moved through corridors thick with the smell of ozone and scorched metal. Injured personnel were tended to, damaged systems repaired, and every eye was turned toward the horizon, toward a planet slowly reclaiming its stability. Captain Arya Solis stepped onto the bridge of the Valiant Resolve, shoulders heavy but head held high. The first signs of alien repair teams were visible below, giant, amber-eyed beings moving with cautious efficiency, rebuilding what had been lost. The humans had saved them, but in doing so, they had also learned lessons the galaxy had yet to teach: ingenuity in chaos, courage under fire, and the weight of honor. Elias Trent joined the bridge via secure comms, his voice steady but layered with emotion. "They're alive," he said simply. "They can rebuild. And it's because of you, all of you, every captain, every crew, every Terran who answered the call." The words were more than acknowledgement. They were validation of decades of preparation, of risk taken in silence, and of humanity's capacity to rise to impossible challenges.
The aliens approached cautiously at first, observing the humans from their orbital observation platforms. There was a quiet reverence in their gestures, subtle vibrations that Elias interpreted as thanks, respect, and, most surprisingly, trust. After centuries of perceiving humans as unpredictable, perhaps even reckless, they had witnessed a species that could act with honor, skill, and empathy under pressure. Humanity had repaid a debt that transcended language, culture, and instinct. On the planet's surface, Terran Marines worked alongside alien engineers, clearing debris and stabilizing key structures. Every interaction was a study in patience and respect. Where mistrust had once existed between species, now camaraderie took root. A human engineer adjusted a massive alien shield generator, while a towering alien oversaw the work, silently acknowledging the skill of the smaller, frailer species. It was a collaboration born of necessity, strengthened by mutual respect, and cemented by shared sacrifice. As the fleets lingered in orbit, Elias reflected on what had been achieved. Humanity had not merely survived, it had excelled. They had taken impossible odds, adapted, innovated, and fought not for conquest, but for justice and loyalty. In the process, they had rewritten how the galaxy might perceive them, not as fragile, reckless interlopers, but as a species capable of heroism and honor. Captain Solis gathered her senior officers. "We've done more than save a planet," she said, voice quiet but resolute. "We've proven that humanity can answer any call, protect those who cannot protect themselves, and rise above fear and doubt. We've forged bonds that will last across generations." Below, on the alien world, a massive sun began to rise, illuminating landscapes scarred by war, but alive with rebuilding. Elias watched the light reflect in the amber eyes of the beings who had once saved him. In that moment, he understood that courage, ingenuity, and honor were not just human traits, they were universal. And humanity, he realized, had earned its place among the stars, not through domination, but through the simple, undeniable truth: when a call for help is heard, humanity answers.
The battle over the alien homeworld had ended, but its reverberations echoed across the stars. Humanity's fleets lingered in orbit, engines thrumming softly as damaged ships underwent repairs, while alien engineers rebuilt shattered cities below. Where once fear and suspicion had ruled the interactions between species, now there was respect, cautious camaraderie, and a deep, unspoken understanding. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy could no longer ignore them. On the bridge of the Valiant Resolve, Captain Aria Solis watched the alien cities pulse with energy as restoration efforts began. Smoke still curled from the battle's final explosions, but life persisted. Alien civilians emerged from shelters, guided by Terran medics and engineers. Children ran along streets cleared of rubble, their laughter mingling with the hum of machinery and the occasional metallic clang of construction. Solis allowed herself a brief, satisfied smile. Humanity had answered a call, and in doing so had proven that courage, honor, and ingenuity were qualities that transcended species. Elias Trent, observing from Lunacity, felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He remembered the first day the amber-eyed giants had spared his life, how he had learned that survival was more than strength. It was choice, morality, and wisdom. Now, decades later, humanity had demonstrated that same principle on a scale he could hardly have imagined. They had adapted to chaos, improvised under fire, and acted with a moral clarity that commanded respect across the galaxy. The aliens approached the orbiting Terran fleet cautiously at first.
Their massive forms shimmered with energy as they floated near human vessels, communicating in vibrations and pulses that humans had slowly begun to interpret. It was a gesture of acknowledgement, a recognition of the bond forged in battle. Elias understood immediately. This was more than gratitude, it was trust, perhaps even friendship, between species once separated by fear and misunderstanding. News of the battle and humanity's role spread quickly across the Terran alliance. Terran historians would record the campaign not just as a military victory, but as an example of moral courage and ingenuity. Political leaders took note, but so did civilians, who celebrated not only human skill, but human character. Across planets and colonies, children would grow up hearing the story of how Terran captains answered a desperate call, risking everything to repay a debt of honor. In private, Captain Solis gathered her senior officers. "We've saved a world, yes," she said, "but more importantly, we've shown that humanity can rise above fear and expectation. Our courage, our choices define us. And now we've earned a place in the galaxy, not through conquest, but through honor and action." Elias Trent watched the rising sun over the alien horizon, amber light reflecting in his eyes. Humanity had repaid a debt, forged bonds that would endure, and left a mark on the galaxy that no one could erase. From this moment on, wherever Terrans ventured, they would be recognized not as fragile interlopers, but as a species capable of heroism, ingenuity, and unwavering loyalty. And somewhere, deep in the stars, the beings who had once saved a human smiled, knowing their choice had changed the course of history. Humanity had answered. Humanity had risen. Humanity had earned its place among the stars.